Hi folks, how are you doing? Really a very interesting third round in the Tata Steel Chess tournament in 2015. We had lots of very interesting games, more than a few decisive results. Really some bloody chess here today on the boards and lots of fighting spirit. More than a game really worth analyzing. But first of all, I chose this game between Wesley So, now representing USA from Philippines, and So-Aronian with black pieces. And well, we had a decisive result here. I'm certainly sure certain fans from certain part of the world will be very happy with the outcome of this game. The game itself was very interesting and pretty useful, I think, pretty instructive. Let's see what happened. Wesley plays 1e4, and we have an open game. The Scotch, exactly. I mean, Wesley, I think, is very flexible, pretty flexible with his openings, and it's very clear he knows his stuff. He knows his main line openings. He's very booked up, and this time we goes for the old Scotch. He takes, knight takes, knight f6, going for the old main line. B takes, e5, queen e7, queen e2, and knight d5. Here Wesley So plays a move which isn't very common, I think. Well, the database says it's my database says it's the second most played move. I'm not an expert in the Scotch, so I haven't seen this move, I think. Wesley So plays knight to d2. Well, the old main line, the absolutely most popular move is to play c4, which follows as bishop a6, g6, b3, g6 with complicated stuff here. But Wesley So went for the knight d2 move, and here black has, according to the database, lots of options, although this is not very popular, but it has been tried. Knight to b4, attacking c2 with a deadly fork there, knight to f4, attacking the queen, g6 has been tried, bishop b7, but So-Aronian went here for even more bizarre move, even less common, rook to b8. Certainly, well, it makes sense. I mean, you're already activating the rook on the open file, putting some pressure on the b2 pawn, for why not? If tactically it works, why not? It's a move. So plays c4, knight to f4, queen e3. Note that this is a double attack against the knight and the pawn on a7, which is now not defended, but taking it now after knight g6 wouldn't be the greatest of the ideas, as you probably can see, because if queen takes, oops, sorry, this was stuck for a second. If queen takes a7, black just captures on e5 with check, having a very good position. So it seems much more reasonable to do what Wesley did. He just protects the pawn first with f4, f6, immediately challenging the pawn center of white, and now he takes on a7 with the queen. He dares to do so, as black isn't taking e5 with check as previously. Now the pawn on f4 is defending, and okay, he's taking some risks, certainly, because he's not developing pieces, but the position is rare, bizarre, so okay, it's probably not bad to take the pawn. Rook b7 was played. Note that the rook is under attack. Easy to miss these things because usually the rook isn't unprotected, and on b8, rook b7, queen f2, and black plays f takes e5, recovering the pawn. Now if white takes on e5, it's going to be recaptured, and black has a very good game. So Wesley pushes his pawn instead to f5, molesting a little bit this knight, which goes to f4. We've seen 14 moves till now. Really, we have a bizarre position, don't you think so? I mean, what is this queen doing on f2, the queen on e7, black bishops looking really strange, the rook on b7, the knight on d2, pawns here in the center here and there, so quite an interesting and original game, at least. Wesley So plays queen f3. I think he wants to develop the bishop either to e2 or d3, and okay, black does something similar, goes to f7, attacks the pawn on f5, and also giving the possibility to this bishop to get developed. Now g3, attacking the knight there, which goes to h5, the only place the knight can go to, but enough so far. It's defended by the queen. Bishop to e2. Now the knight has to depart again. goes to f6, g4, going for the flank aggression, trying to chase this knight away, trying to really disturb a little bit these pieces. And well, a classical recipe against a flank attack is counterblast in the center. Black plays d5. Certainly an unclear position. Not sure who's better here and why. All I just can see is that pieces scattered around. White really, I mean, his king side is really weak, and if his pawn aggression here, his pawn storm, kind of pawn storm here, does not pay off, his position seems a little bit dubious, because where is he going to put the king? Not in the king side, certainly the queen side. Black already has the rook here, the bishop. So it's, I don't know, black has central pawns here. Maybe black is slightly bit better, but really it's very unclear, this position, really sharp. g5 was played here. I mean, you have to stick with your plans, and it wasn't making any sense to do anything else if you're not pushing this pawn anymore. e4, intermediate attack against the queen, queen h3, and we reach really a critical point in the game here. Unfortunately for Armenian fans, So-Aronian makes well, we can call it like that, a blunder. Really, I wasn't there watching the game live stream, so I'm not sure what really happened there. What did Levon say later or something? Did he really miscalculated something, missed something? What really happened there? But he went knight g8. Of course, I'm not pretending to say I saw why this was a blunder without the engine, because this is pretty complicated stuff. Although when you already seen it, it's quite obvious. I think at least you get to understand it. The point is that why this is a blunder. Well, try to calculate it by yourself if you want to. The obvious natural move is to play bishop h5. Well, this is a rather deadly fork there, or what, a pin, whatever. Black can play g6, but the point is that after f takes g6, this is a double attack. In fact, as rarely as it looks, this bishop on c8 is hanging and the queen is attacking it. Meanwhile, this pawn on g6 is attacking the queen with a check, which is very important. And this is how black gets a lost position here, losing position. Which was the correct move, by the way, after g5? Well, it seems it was much better to play knight d7, because white doesn't have the same idea here. It's not favoring white to play bishop h5, g6 and f takes, because here black is winning as he can. I mean, now the point is that the knight is here on this diagonal and the bishop isn't hanging on c8, and black can simply play pawn takes, and it is black who's winning here, because there is a deadly pin on the h file. White is losing this bishop apparently, right? The point is that the bishop isn't hanging on c8. I think basically that's the idea of putting the knight on d7 and not on g8, which is what Aronian did. And here, after g6, f takes, there are two pieces hanging for black. Now you cannot do h takes, because white has, of course, the intermediate capture on c8 with check, of course, winning this position pretty easily. Well, Levon went bishop takes h3. Of course, he takes the queen. So does white, but the point is that he's taking it with a check, and the bishop is behind, protecting the pawn. This is a fork, and black is losing a piece here, the knight here on g8. Unfortunately for So-Aronian, I can imagine how Levon's fans are feeling it today. Really very uncommon mistake, and really not a very beautiful move there by So-Aronian. Wesley so takes that, promotes, rook takes, and white is up a knight. Simple as that. Of course, Wesley has to complete development. Almost all his pieces are stuck here, the knight in between, the king in the center. But we're talking about top 10 level in the world, almost 2800, and a piece is a piece. And it seems rather difficult that black will get enough compensation here for a piece, even if he has much better development, and white has still the king in the center, etc. But there are no queens in the board. Black doesn't have that direct threat, so as we're gonna see, Wesley So is going to convert this not that easily, not in a couple of moves, but certainly in a very instructive way. Rook g1 is played to protect the pawn. Bishop d6, c takes, and bishop f7. That's a really interesting attack against the rook, and the pawn on d5, which is not the tactics. Rook to f8, and bishop just takes on d5. At the same time, attacking once again now the other rook, which goes to b4. g6 is played. Note that taking on h2, for instance, isn't working. g7, and white is promoting there. The bishop is very important guarding g8. So black has to take, and white takes back on g6. Rook d4 attacking the bishop, which now can take on e4. White is taking pawns here and there, but his position is solid. He's up a piece, and that's enough. He's protecting all his pieces. The bishop is protected by the knight, and black doesn't have that many dangerous threats, as we can see now. Rook e8, of course, yes, as I said, white still has to develop all these pieces. This bishop is pinned. Black has active pieces, but it's not enough. At amateur level, I'm sure white would lose this lots of times. I would lose this hundreds of times, of course. But here we're talking about almost 2800 level, top 10, and Wesley So isn't an amateur here. Not to convert this c5 to protect the rook. Rook g7 check, king back, king e2. As we're gonna see, Wesley So is going to change the configuration of his pieces. Now bishop c8, Aronian looks for a better and more active square for his light squared bishop, like e6, as we're gonna see. Bishop goes to f3, and bishop a6 check, king f2. Rook h4, trying to go for this h2 pawn with some activity, desperately trying to get initiative. Now knight f1, very nice move, not only defending h2, very importantly threatening this skewer on g5 with the bishop checking and taking, picking the rook. So Aronian didn't want to make another blunder, plays king c8, he had enough with the first one. Bishop e3, rook h3 attacking the bishop there, but knight d2 just protecting. That's the good thing about having an extra piece. You have another extra piece to defend your pieces. So rook takes h2 check, king there, and okay, what can you do here? Aronian goes for some simplifications, takes some makes some imbalances in the material. It takes with the rook on d2, and well, of course, if white just takes back, black would take the bishop on f3, taking a couple of pieces for the rook, which would be some improvement for black. But instead, white has the simple intermediate check here. Bishop goes there, and now you take the rook back. That's a whole rook now up. Bishop e5 is played, rook e7, bishop d4 check. Well, Aronian has some active pieces, that's clear. Both his bishop control these diagonals, the rook is controlling here. He has slightly something against this white king, but you know, white is upper rook, so he shouldn't have problems defending this, or at least, I mean, you're not defending, but winning this. Bishop e3 was played, rook g8 attacking the other bishop. Exchange here. Wesley So gives some material back to just simplify it even more. That's in his favor. He takes on before giving up on g4 check, king f2, and he also takes on d4. Now it's an exchange in the pawn up, but the position is already much more simple, and well, this is completely winning. Rook h1 threatening deadly check here on the back rank with almost a checkmate. Bishop b7 check, king a7, king e3. Black still is hoping for some further simplification which allows him to somehow hold this b3, not allowing that pawn to be captured. c4, and after 54, rook to h4, attacking this pawn with both the pawn and the rook, pinning it, etc. This is completely over. The bishop cannot move, the rook cannot move. I mean, this pawn is going to be captured. and this is all over. The really a sad game for So-Aronian, but on the other hand, a very nice game by Wesley So, the Philippine GM, now playing for United States, really showing he's really improved over the last years, really making his entrance into the top 10. Right now being a challenge for the top left, in my opinion. I said it before the game, I mean the tournament began. Beware of Wesley So, he's been preparing, he's good, he's been improving, so we'll see what happens in the next rounds. Thanks for watching.